there's the work from home, should you not, whatever, in the private sector. And then we're talking about government though. And we can talk about the private sector. Maybe that's a different topic. We're talking about the government. Should government employees work from, I remember Don, I was going to take Don's call and Don just hung up. Don is works at the post office. There's no working from home option for the post office. I feel like there's a different standard for a private sector company, which by the way, a lot of these private companies want to bring people back too. Like Amazon's making everyone come back. But it's different with a private company and government employee. And I think there's a higher expectation that government employees should come into the office than a private employee. That would be my default position. 866-95-PATRIOT. Go to Nadine, who's in Virginia. Nadine, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to talk to you. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm calling from Virginia, from Hampton Roads area.
Are you a federal employee?
I am. I work for Department of Defense. I work for the Navy at Norfolk Naval Station.
Do you work remote or on base?
Actually, I was working Air Force first while I was in Texas. We started remote, of course, with COVID. Then we started going to the office once a week. And when I transferred to the Navy, family reasons, that's personal. But anyway, we were still working. I'm in the contracting sector. So we all work from home. And we do go to the office once a week. And I was listening to the other callers, and we do have a shared space. Now, I'm in the largest office building on Norfolk that was built like in 1930. But we made one area that is a shared space, and we go in and we sign up for our desks for whatever day that we work. And that area is always full, whatever day you go in, because each section has to go in once a week. Our productivity, both in the Air Force and here for contracting, went through the roof. They could not believe how much more we got done from working at home. And I could see it because when I was working in office, there were several people that all they did was walk around talking to people all day. Now, I'm not saying that this is the be-all, end-all for everybody, because you are correct. I mean, there are people that really should be in the office. Some do have the option to go in more often if they choose to. But I don't think it's something that should be forced when we are saving money on buildings and not using the utilities and, everything else. I think it would help the federal government to look at it and, they could possibly close down some buildings and let people remote. There are, of course, other areas where people can't remote. You have to be there, which they do tend to get upset because they don't think it's fair that they have to be there and other people don't.
I would say. So that bitterness that can build is a factor that should be considered as well. It's twofold. Are you going to make the people who like to work from home go to the office and make them bitter? Or are you going to let some people work from home and the ones who can't work from home let them be bitter, right? So you got to make that trade-off. If they made you go to the office, would you quit?
Honestly, I have 22 years, so I would retire. And in my situation, a lot of it is the commute to work is fine if you leave super early in the morning. But if you don't, it's at least an hour and a half. Normally, it'd be 30 minutes. It takes me an hour and a half to get to work. And then if I don't leave early, then it takes sometimes 2 hours to get home.
Brutal.
And
that's so not cool.
And when
Nadine, I appreciate the call. And listen, I work from home, right? So I get it. But I'm going to hear, I'm sure we could open up the phones all day and hear plenty of stories of federal employees telling us that they're more efficient working from home, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's my argument too. I had to have this argument. It was before COVID. I tried to make the pitch to work from home, and it didn't work. And then during COVID, in California, it was and then they're like, "Hey, you got to come back." And it's like, "Well, let me tell you." So I get it. I get all the arguments. I had to make all the arguments, but there's got to be a different standard for federal employees. And Nadine, no offense, but like that's the point. Like, you retiring is the point of making people come back. So, All right, let's get a couple more. We take a more. Yeah. We took one break, right? Did we take a break yet? Yeah, we took one break. Okay, we took one break. All right, let's go. Let's go to Jacob, who's in Texas. Hey, Jacob. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, bro. What do you think about? Is your wife a federal employee or private?
She was in private. She worked from home for about a year, and like I was telling the screener, it was awesome, man. She was getting the house cleaned every day, all the laundry, all the dishes. It was awesome, man. I was loving it. But she started, like going crazy, like not going out and communicating with people, being around people, and it was driving her crazy. And I told her, I was like, look, you're gonna have to change your job. You don't even like the job anyways. So she did, and it's been about 7 months, and man, night and day difference.
In going somewhere and being with people.
Yes, going out and working around people and not just cooped up in the house all day long.
Yeah, but there's something to that, Jacob. I appreciate the call. I think there's something to that. There's also something to doing a work job and then also doing all the stuff at the house that will crush anybody as well. So that may be part of it as well. How's the laundry getting done still? But that is an interesting factor that I've never considered before. Let's go to JB, who is in New York. What's going on, JB?
Hey, how are you? I just wanted to call in. I run my own business, and frankly, like people can work from home 1 day a week, but then that's it. Like we expect people in the office. It's better for collaboration. I'm even annoyed thinking about the fact that there are so many federal employees that are working from home because I don't think it is efficient. I think that you're talking about you work from home. It's a completely different gig, right? We want our federal government to be run efficiently. That requires collaboration, and natural collaboration requires, those in-person meetings, or I'm taking care of something on a call and all of a sudden I need the attention of like one of my employees to come handle something. And if they're at home, I may not get that. And, business just moves faster than that. And frankly, I think the federal government should be operating in a similar way. I had a call yesterday with one of our big clients. They manage well into the billions of dollars, and they're now 5 days a week work from the office. If someone called us and told us they wanted a job, but they only wanted to work from home, we wouldn't even consider that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is great. JB, but what about the commute?
I have to deal with the same commute. Like it's going to take me an hour to get in this morning because of what time I left my house. And normally I try to leave early to, shorten that commute. And then frankly, my goal, because I'm running my own business, is I aim to be the first one there, and I try to be the last one there because I'm setting the tempo for what I want my employees to do.
All right, JB, I'm so glad you called in. So let's keep chatting. But as we're having this conversation, I want everyone listening, we are all JB because we are the taxpayers who are running the business of the bureaucracy, right?
Exactly.
So JB, we just heard from all the employees side who are like, I like to work from home. It's like, well, okay, good for you. But we're the JBs of this relationship, and we expect excellence and getting the most stuff done possible, but biggest bang for our buck. And maybe we save a little money on the electricity bill, but are we getting the stuff done that needs to get done? So what do you say to the people who say, well, I'm actually more efficient at home. I get more stuff done at home, JB?
Well, I think the last caller kind of talked about that. I don't know if people are really being more efficient from home, if they're able to get all their laundry done and have the house all cleaned and do all that. I mean, I don't think that really happens. I think people may like it better, and you may be able to get stuff done, or the work day may extend because it's longer because you have to take care of other things. But I would challenge the notion that that in a job that requires collaboration as opposed to something that isn't, a bureaucracy by definition is multiple people working together, right? If that's the type of if that's the type of job that you have in a bureaucracy, you need to be working with other people. And I think that a lot of that is good. I think a lot of that happens in person and also is generating ideas. Like, we want the federal government to be operating efficiently. I just can't imagine if the private sector, and there are so many jobs or careers where people are gunning for advancement, where they're requiring people to be in, that it's better for the federal government to just have everybody at home. I don't see it. I get the benefit of saving commuting time. I'd love to be able to drop my son off at school or pick him up, in the afternoon or do things. But in the meantime, like, I've got a business to run and I've got a responsibility to my employees too, because I've got to make payroll and, be able to pay people out. I think that from a federal government perspective, like, we want people who want to go to work.
So I wonder how much of people preferring to work at home, I mean this genuinely, how much of it is people like not getting dressed, and maybe your natural personality instinct is to be introverted and just stay at home, and it's just easier. Maybe not be better, but it's easier, but people interpret that as better. Maybe that's part of it too. I'll ask you one more question, JB, on the not only the collaboration point, but on the career ascension point that I was trying to make, that you need to be with the boss. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's huge. In the office yesterday on a Monday, and a lot of people were working from home, but some employees were in. It just makes a difference. We were working on a deal, and one of our employees saw that we were in our office, talking about something, and knocked on the door and said, I wanted to know if you were talking about XYZ deal, which we were. And we ended up saying, yeah, come on in. And we sat and brainstormed in an effort to get something, in order to get something done that's going to generate significant revenue for the firm and be accretive. And by the way, my business partner and I had a work dinner last night. And one of the things we were talking about in leaving the work dinner is how that employee has been a huge add since we hired them.
Yep. Yeah.
Because
they always show up to Zoom on time, or because they're there in person doing work.
They're there in person, and so people take a cue from their bosses, right? So the bottom line is, like, people know that my partner and I are fully invested in the business because we're there later than anyone else. And so people take that cue and they work, it then drives the work ethic.